All right, we are back, and we are back with Sushi FT5 with the actual speedrun of the marathon. I am very honored to be introducing Sushi here, along with his commentator, the birthday boy, and leader of this whole circus that we've been running here.
What a
Uh,
circus it's been, honestly. This
I
has
love it.
been an absolutely awesome marathon. We've raised a lot of money for Child's Play charity, and yeah, I'm super excited to be commentating the last run of the event with Sushi here, Skybolt Zack.
And
Hello.
that's gonna do it for me for the rest of the marathon. Everyone, thanks for your huge support and your love. Happy birthday, Carter, and I wish you the best of luck on this run.
Thank you very much. Okay, so Sushi, you can go ahead and take it away here. I'm just gonna reset the timer real quick, and then we should be good to go.
Hello. Okay, so I'll be playing Skybolt Zack, which is quite a known game, I think. Today I will be playing all levels, so we'll be go through every level of the game. We go through the stage like ABC, etc. And Carter, I let you explain if you can the first mechanics as it is all levels. We will have time to explain some things, I guess.
Yeah, I will do my best to try and explain the game mechanics as we go. So just when you're ready.
So the timer will start on the loading screen when I will press the X button.
Okay.
So get ready for timer. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so I'm just going to start off real quickly by talking a little bit about Skybolt Zack itself. Skybolt Zack was developed by Devs Must Die. It is what I would like to call a rhythm platformer in that you are going to be using 3 different buttons that are assigned to different colors to dash towards enemies. As you're seeing Sushi here doing, you press the red button to dash to any red-colored enemies, the purple button to dash to any purple-colored enemies, and the green button to dash to any green enemies. There's also a jump button and a dash button, which we will be using quite a bit here. All of the color-coded options, we also have the ability to do a focus version of, where if you hold the button, you can kind of expand the radius that you can dash to. You can end up, you see the circle that's surrounding Zack here, and that circle is how far you can actually dash towards. So you'll end up trying to make sure you're in range of certain colored enemies to go as far as you possibly can, and just traverse through the levels as quickly as possible. Now, normally, when you're playing through this game, just you would end up progressing through it and going through one of the multiple exits in a level, which I should mention there's multiple exits in a level. You'll end up either going like a top path, a middle path, or a low path. I believe for Sushi's run, because we're doing all the levels are already unlocked. So
Yeah, that's it.
So we'll end up not having to worry about going to specific routes for like the fastest possible way to the end. We're just going to be going in the individual level the fastest way out of the level, which could be either the top path or the middle path. Usually it'll be one of the two, because usually the top path is the fastest.
That's it. There are only a few levels where I will take like the middle or bottom pass.
Yeah,
Generally the top pass is reduced the fastest.
Yeah, there's only a couple of exceptions for stages that aren't faster to go to the top. I think like 1-2 is one of the few exceptions, like where it ends up being faster to go to the middle path.
Yeah.
So the concept of this game sounds pretty simple, but it actually gets pretty in-depth. So one of the things you'll probably notice here is that on top of being able to dash to enemies with the correct color button, you can also choose the direction that you're going to dash away from the enemy after you kind of dash into them. So if you're holding up when you dash into the enemy, Zack will end up going up. Same thing if you're holding down, you'll end up going down. So you end up using that to make adjustments to where you're going to end up being so that you can end up being in reach of certain enemies. As you see there, ending using a focus attack to break through the wall there and skip a little bit of the level. This game is really fast-paced, by the way, so it's going to be very difficult to talk specifically about the levels. As you can probably see, like most of the levels they'll end up being like 20 seconds to like 40 seconds. There's only a couple that are longer than that.
Yeah, generally the very last ones are really long, but generally it's like 20 seconds or something like that. Okay, that's good. Yes, there's something we can mention too. There are some gray enemies, which are enemies that are, you have to time your because you have to jump on them. So that's the only enemy where you have to time something. Although all the other enemies are like
the homing attack.
You can't mash. Yeah.
So just to like clarify that, when you're in the air after you've done a jump, you can press the jump button again and you'll do like kind of an aerial attack. And that doesn't home in on enemies, but you can use that to hit enemies that are gray colored, just to bounce off them, as you see right there. And that ends up being used a bit more frequently the further you get into the game here. Just because there ends up being more gray enemies. You'll have some cases where there'll be some gray enemies that'll spawn colored enemies or like missiles that you end up using to like progress through the level. So it gets pretty complicated to follow us. Like even running the game, like it's really fast paced. There's a lot of, I would say like almost rote memorization of just what colors are coming up next and knowing what buttons you need to press.
Oh, this is bad. No worries.
Nice recovery there. Getting back up into the top path.
Yeah.
So yeah, as you're seeing, when things go wrong, sometimes you're not 100% sure on how you're supposed to recover it, just because sometimes you only have like one chance of going to the top path with the enemies that are available. So you have to make sure you do it correctly, or else you'll end up kind of going off the correct path. But we ended up getting a good recovery here.
Yeah, finally it was good.
The game sometimes tries to troll you as well a little bit, where if you press the wrong color, trying to go towards an enemy, there'll be like bouncers that will bounce you down to the lower path. So you have to be really careful about pressing the correct color. Now, admittedly, some of these levels I don't actually know very well, because when I ran this game, I ran it for what was basically 90%, so you just tried to get through from start to finish as fast as possible. And I don't think I actually completed some of the levels even in my casual playthrough. So.
Well, actually, there are a lot of, as you said earlier, there are different routes that gives you different levels. So generally in the first play, it's like everyone goes to the C route, so which is supposed to be the easiest route, but I don't think it's actually true. And there are a lot of levels. Myself, I didn't do all the levels at my first run, but after running the game, I was like, oh, just running the A route is no fun anymore. So I went and like do all the levels and try to optimize everything, and it's really tough actually to do actually the whole game.
I can definitely believe that. It was already tough enough as it was just doing any percent for this game. It's a very mash heavy game. You have to put a lot of practice into doing a lot of these levels at the same speed each time too, because some of them are cycle based. Like this level here is cycle based, for example. So depending on when you get to these bouncing screw enemies, they'll be in different locations. So if you don't get here quick enough, it can mess up your timings and you'll end up bouncing off of enemies that you don't want to bounce off of. So it can be a whole mess. So here we go, we're going along the top path here.
Up. There we go. And a lot of little optimizations to go faster, of course.
Yeah, like as you can see, there's a lot of different enemies too. Like, so trying to cut out enemies as much as you possibly can from your route, just to like take the shortest line you can, ends up saving a lot of time throughout the run.
Yep.
Are there any levels in particular you're worried about, by the way, as we go further into this?
I think the very last ones, they are very long and some mistakes are like unforgivable. But it should be okay, I think.
I know for me, when I ran this, the last level was always a nightmare to get to, just because it's a gauntlet of like 3 different levels, and it's pretty tightly routed. You end up using pretty much all of your health, and if you make mistakes, you'll end up just dying.
Yeah. The very last levels are really tight with some good damage boosts, but they can be really tricky. Ooh, that wasn't good. That wasn't good. That's raise.
Also, if anyone is interested in picking up this game actually has a built-in leaderboard too, for both score and for time attack. And you can see Sushi's times and my times up there if you're ever interested in seeing what it looks like. Another thing, another mechanic that was just used there that I actually forgot to mention is if you tap down quickly when you're in the air twice, you'll end up doing a quick fall. That ends up getting used a little bit when you have to go down very quickly, or just you know, to fall down enough so that you can dash under a platform and then dash up into an enemy. There's lots of different uses for it.
Yeah, like cancel some momentum or things like that. So it's okay.
So this game actually doesn't have too much. There's not a whole lot of different enemies in it. There's some enemies that have multicolor that, like, when you hit them the first time, they'll be like, say, green, and the next time they'll be red. Which they actually do indicate a little bit based on like their hand color, what the next color will be. So you can do it without knowing ahead of time what the next color is going to be really quickly.
Yeah,
it still helps to know.
You can see the different colors with the hand, jet colors. So it's not like only based on only pure knowledge of the level. You can just you can anticipate what is shown actually.
Yeah. So just talking about the rest of the enemies that we got, we have the double hit enemies, we have the like flying robots, we have the screws. And we have like the propeller bots. Propeller bots aren't really enemies, they're just kind of like dash points that you can jump to. Probably the most annoying enemy to actually deal with in this is the screw enemies, because they can end up being really hard to properly target.
Yeah, totally. I think for casual play, the worst thing is the enemy that appear on World 3, like the one with spikes.
Oh, yes.
But for speedrunners, they are like the best friend.
So we haven't seen those just yet, but there's going to be some enemies that are going to have spikes covering specific parts. Like, I think it's like at the point enemy, but they cover specific parts of the enemy. And it can really be a pain in the butt dealing with it. It's especially common in the last stage of the game, where pretty much the majority of the points you're going to be targeting are going to be spiked, so you have to make sure you're coming in from the right angle. Otherwise, you'll end up taking damage. So we had to restart there because I think we ended up going off the correct path.
Yep, that's it. It would be really long if I didn't restart it.
Yeah, as she said, like earlier on, a lot of these lower paths are supposed to be easier, but they end up being so much longer that I feel like they're a little harder in a lot of cases.
Yeah. Well, they're not really hard because generally the patterns are like one button to press to go to the end. But it's really long because there are like doors and things like that. Which take a lot of time to pass, complete. And generally the top path is like so quick that we prefer going through the top path.
Yeah, as we've been seeing,
Usually-
it's been like a lot of the times you're just going to go top path because it's such a big like difference in how long it takes.
Yeah.
There's a couple of optimizations in some of the stages where you'll actually go middle path for some of it and then end up like going to the top path with the enemies that are available to do so. So sometimes it's not optimal to just stay directly on the top path. There's like little shortcuts you can take.
Yeah, because sometimes the top pass is just like for scoring. There are more enemies, more different colors, so it's more for scoring. Yeah.
Yeah, scoring in this game is pretty interesting. You end up a lot of the times like having to do color swaps to get the best possible score. So like the more that you end up swapping to different colored enemies, the higher score you can end up getting. And also maintaining your combo is pretty important for scoring as well.
Yeah, so you shouldn't learn too much and not breaking your combo by taking damage or with a wrong color or thing like that.
This stage is really interesting because you end up taking advantage of the screws to just kind of take the top path here. And it's really hard to do without the screws too.
Which one is it? Oh, right. This one, for example, is a level where you go to the bottom path, actually.
All right, I'm
It's
going to watch
really
this one.
shorter.
Because I haven't seen this level, so I want to see this one.
There you go, through the missiles. Then you come back here. And again, there we go.
I will definitely say though, if you're interested in rhythm games at all and you like platformers, this game is incredibly rewarding to get good at.
Yeah.
It feels so satisfying to just zoom through the levels. Like Sushi's making this look easy. When you first try and play this, you're gonna feel like you're really slow in comparison. It's really hard to go fast in this. I feel like even when you're kind of experienced at it, it can still be tricky. Like you'll still end up making mistakes just because there's so much going on.
Totally.
There was another example of a troll bouncer there. A couple of them actually. If you pressed like the wrong color there, you would have launched yourself down to the bottom path.
Yeah.
All right, so we're entering into World 3 now. And this is where the game starts picking up a little bit. So now we have some enemies that, or some point enemies that have bounce pads on them, and also the point enemies that have the spikes surrounding them. So some of them are fully surrounded by spikes, some of them are partially surrounded by spikes. So you want to try and make sure you don't target the colors that have the fully spike surrounded, or the enemies that are fully surrounded by spikes, because it ends up doing damage to you. You've only got 4 life, you take 4 damage, and then you go right back to the beginning of the level, and it feels bad, right? So you don't want that.
Yeah, that's true to an extent. As well, later we will see some levels that exploit these enemies. These enemies are really convenient, particularly the Grey Run. But generally, they are like the first real hurdle to take on. There are a lot of players that there are a lot of players that are stuck in the World 3 because of these enemies.
I know in some later levels we'll end up using them to like get an additional jump, or just kind of like boost through an area that you're supposed to kind of go through like a maze, but you're just like, that's too slow, so I'm just gonna damage boost through this and just charge through everything.
Oh, I missed something.
Also, you can see like some of the enemies are being avoided. That's because some of them just take a lot of hits. Like the one at the very start of this level, he takes like 5 hits to kill, and it's just slow to deal with him, so it's faster to just jump over him. A lot of the times that you have the enemy that takes 5 hits, you'll end up just trying to hit them from the top and then just dashing over them. So here we have some more of these spike balls. As you can see, you got to be really careful going through here. Sushi actually taking a little bit of time just to make sure that you don't end up targeting the wrong color.
Yeah.
It's another level here I have not actually seen, but
Yeah, and this one is one of my favorite when I started running all levels. It's got a nice route.
yeah. So we're seeing some of the damage boosting through the spike enemies right now. Actually, just kind of showcasing what I mean. We also saw our first example of missile spawners, where if you destroy them, it'll spawn a set of anywhere between like, I think it's like 1 to 3 missiles, or 2 to 3. Usually there's one for each color. And
yeah, that can be like.
Sometimes you have
one extra. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to end up using those to climb higher to take the top path. This game is very creative in how they designed the paths for it. Very unforgiving sometimes, but very creative.
Oops.
Also, most of the lower path levels will only have one exit, where you only can go up to the next area. Like, you'll usually have, like, you can go up to the next level in the overworld, or you can go, like, sideways to the next easy level, as they're called.
So we'll have a very cool skip with spiked enemies this level.
Yeah, that was an example of the maze, like the spike maze, that they expect you to like kind of take your time and dash through enemies and drop and dash through and all this fun stuff. But you can just zoom right through it. Like, you take the damage and then you just dash into the spike balls and just keep dashing. Because every time you dash into an enemy, you can, every time you attack an enemy, you reset your dash button so you can dash again. Also, attentive watchers may have noticed that there is actually an input display for this game too, so you'll get to see all the inputs that Sushi is doing here.
Oops.
And it can get pretty input intense, especially in some of the later levels.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started running this, and I saw your name on the leaderboards, and I'm like, wait, is that the Sushi I know from another game? So the funny story is that Sushi and I, we actually both, we knew each other from a rhythm game by the name of Os, or Osu, for some people might know it as. And we both played Taiko. And I just found it really neat that when I ran into this game, I got to meet Sushi again, and I was like, wow, I haven't seen you around in ages. Where have you been? You've been speedrunning? Like...
Opla.
And Sushi humbled me quite significantly in this game, made me really work for my time. Ended up improving quite a bit as a result, too.
Yeah. It was really fun having you have some competitions. It was really cool.
Got to come back and give you some more competition for this.
All right, I'm ready.
I'm just going to take a quick opportunity here just to kind of mention, we don't have any donations right now, but we still have a little bit more time for donations if you would like to make them. We have some prizes that you can get if you make any donations. For $5, you can enter into a raffle for a set of Perlers, or for 3 Twitch gift subs to a channel of your choice. For $6, you can get a set of 5 Steam games from a pack that is going to be made after the stream or after the event. For $10, you can get entered for 10 Steam games, and for $20 you can get entered for 20 Steam games. And the games that are being entered are not necessarily cheap games. Like there's some pretty good games in there, pretty good quality list of games. So if you want to get into that, you'll have to throw some donations. This level can go real bad, and I think we ended up seeing like there was a bit of a cycle mess up there. Yep. So and then ended up being you had to take your time.
I really don't like this level actually. This is one of not my nemesis, but it can be a really tough.
Yeah, this one looks really tough actually.
All right.
In my first playthrough, I actually did do this level because I ended up being on the bottom path at this point. Oh boy, 4-1. This one is really crazy. So there's a lot of really cool skips in this one. It's really hard to stay on cycle for it, but you'll end up using a lot of these cube enemies that you can hit 3 times to just kind of skip through a bunch of stuff. And it's really short, but it's really cool when it's done quickly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Credo. Oh, come on.
All right, so this is one that I haven't seen before, so you're gonna have to give me a little bit on this one.
Yeah, this one is not. How to say? There is no real. Not. Oola. Oh, I missed. I restart. There is not much to say. There are some nasty stuff, but globally it's like no real. Oh, I'm talking really badly. No real great stuff. It's just very normal route, but it can be tough, but not the toughest. I'll say. No major skips and no. Just a difficult route, but it's okay. It's okay. There's just like one thing that is not quite easy to get is like the two gray enemies, laser gray enemies.
I was actually just going to mention that the two gray enemies at the end of it, they actually looked really difficult to reach.
Yeah, I think normally you have to get them by another way, but well, we're not doing things normally, so.
Now we're speedrunners. We do things the fast way. You know, that's how it goes.
Yeah. This one is cool. There's a cool gray enemy tech. Missed.
So yeah, I guess I should have mentioned this as well. When you dash attack into, like when you dash and then you do like the jump attack into a gray enemy, you'll actually you'll maintain your dash momentum through that. So you end up using that sometimes to just go a little bit faster through some sections. And to like save your dash for like a later part, just go as fast as you possibly can through it. This level, there's a lot going on here. So this one, there's going to be some explosives that are going to be going off. We're going to be going way too fast for them, but you end up doing a lot of damage boosts here too. Just through these missiles, there's a lot of damage boosting in general in this level. Just get through the fire as fast as possible, skipping the high health enemies just so that they're not in the way, and avoiding all these gray spiked enemies. And then hopefully we can get through this part. Oh, what a save. Oh, wait. Oh, so close. So close. Yeah, so the end of this level is really difficult because you've already damage boosted a couple times through this part. And you need to try and do that like as fast as you can, because again, this is a cycle-based level. Like everything that's going on here is cycle-based the moment you start the level. So depending on how fast you did the beginning of this, the fire bars towards the end are going to be in different locations.
Yeah, and normally I should have taken only 2 damages, 2 damage, but I messed up. But it's okay. Now it's okay. Now
Hey,
it's okay. Yes.
You ended up getting a really clean run through on the second attempt, though.
Yeah. Ah, this level. I don't like it either.
I feel so bad not knowing these levels are. It's like I don't remember these levels because I always take talk path.
Yeah, I was like that too. Like when I started running this category, I was like, hey, there are cool routes actually. There are cool levels. Go. And I would say there are some levels where I was like, I was discovering as I did all the doors to unlock everything in the game, all the exits, and I discovered something, as well as some path where I was like, wait, this path is really better.
That ended up happening when I was running through the game, like as well. Like when I was starting to learn the speed run, there was it was one of the early, I think it was like World 2. It was either World 1 or World 2, where there's a part where like runners were originally taking the top path. I'm like, wait, we can just go like right through the middle and then just kind of like go up. And it like,
Yeah,
it was so much faster, and like everyone just was like, wait, you can do this?
yeah, that's totally it. And like the devs were like, oh, finally someone pick that up.
Yeah, the devs are pretty secretive about the routes. Like they know about all this stuff, but they won't tell you. They're just gonna let you discover it.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to shout out the devs. Devs must die. They were actually really awesome for this game. Really supportive of the speedrun community. They made a speedrun.com page for it. I thought it was a little funny though because they added like a task section to it. And usually you don't have like tasks on speedrun.com, so I don't think anyone's actually submitted to it, but just I thought it was pretty amusing.
Yeah, it's because there was some a friend who tried to do some things tasks. It was like, hey, we can do some pretty neat stuff, but he never did actually a full run.
Yeah, tasks take a lot of time to make, so I can understand it not being finished. I've seen quite a few unfinished task projects myself. Oh, this is a really cool level. I like this little laser section here.
Yeah, it was really cool. At the beginning, I was really concerned about this level when I first started to run this category, but finally, this one is really cool.
One of the other nice things about this game, if you actually decide to run this, is this game operates on a in-game timer. So the timer, like per level, stops when you're in the menu, or when you get your first hit on the end door. So like when you finish a level, you can like check the leaderboard, see if you got a good time on it. You can just give your hands a rest if your hands are tired just from like going nonstop.
Yeah, for the any percent, there's a built-in splitter actually, and the timer, as Carter Flick was saying, is really well made so that you can take a break actually.
Yeah. You won't see most runners like take advantage of the break, but it's there if like you need it, which is pretty cool. So this level, when you try and go fast, is really hard. There's a lot of spiked enemies here and a lot of cycle-based stuff. And like if you get off cycle and like any cycle-based levels like this, you can it spells disaster.
Yeah, totally. And it can happen really fast, being off cycle. So are we? Which one was it? All right.
So we're getting pretty close to the end of the game here. We've got like we've got the last level of World 4, and then we've got a couple levels in World 5, and then we're done. I think it's like only 4 levels from here.
No, there's more. There's more. As we're taking really all the levels. There's more than that. There's like
How many more?
like 6 or 7 levels. I don't remember.
Does it go to 5-3? Because I know that there's 2 different boss fights. I'm trying to remember how many levels there are now. We're gonna see it in a second, but
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think that's 8 levels.
okay.
And the bosses.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because there's 3 at the very beginning of 5-1, but then it splits off into the. I completely forgot there was 3. So okay, now we have some enemies that are kind of like chain enemies. They'll spawn the next enemy in a sequence when you hit the first one. So you have to hit multiple enemies in a row to get the next ones to pop up. Otherwise, you can't target them. Nice use of the missile there just to get across there quickly. And then just damage boosting through here. Hopefully we don't take any more damage. Shouldn't take any damage here unless you accidentally target the spiked enemy, so looks like we're good.
So this level is like there is one of the level where you don't take the top path,
Okay.
and it's tough. It's really tough.
This is another one of the ones I haven't seen because, again, I haven't taken like the majority of the middle path levels. So.
And there's a cool pattern at the end.
Also, we're going through a bunch of ghost enemies here. Oh, that looks awesome. It's kind of like the mash green to win.
That's it.
Okay, so I also want to mention before we get to it that we did meet the incentive for the colorblind final boss.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if you're going to be doing that for both final boss fights.
No, just the final, but I will do it after when I complete the boss actually because it's really tough.
Okay.
I want to separate that from the normal run, sake, as it's really it can change a lot of things.
So I guess I'll kind of explain when I say colorblind mode. So in this game, you can actually set the colors that are for your button. There's like I think like 8 different presets.
Yeah.
So you can end up setting all of them to the exact same color, which means you have no idea what color of enemy you're like, what button is associated with the enemy you're dashing to. So it's really hard because you have to know exactly what color of every single enemy that's in the entire level looks like, and just knowing like what buttons need to be pressed everywhere. It can get really messy really fast.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see it because I remember when Sushi was practicing it. It was like just for like other marathons, and it was like I couldn't do that. There's no way I could do that. This level here actually was like one of the ones I found to be the hardest to do casually, and even just like in speedrun, because there's like a section here where you have same color missiles as like the spikes, and sometimes the game's just like, no, I'm not going to target the missile, I'm going to target the spike, and you just bounce off of them.
Whoa, what happened here? I messed up a little.
Oh. Looks like you're still alright. Oh, I spoke too soon. I cursed it. So you kind of get to see there's a lot of different like spots where there's the same color enemy. Like right here, there's like the green missiles, but there's also green spiked enemies. And if you're not paying attention to what you're actually targeting, because there's actually lines that show you what you're going to target when you press the button. If you don't pay attention to that, you can just dash right into spikes, and it's like, ah, dang it. Why do you make it so easy to dash into the thing I don't want to dash into? This is one of the few sections here where you kind of just not dashing at enemies. You take your time because you have a bunch of like electric fields you have to avoid, and you end up climbing really high here to get to the exit. The end of that level kind of feels all over the place because it's such a wide area, and you're just like, well, where's the exit?
Yeah, it was, and it's really unforgiving as well as I'd say. There are a lot of enemies with the same color as the spikes, and you can easily get thrown off by everything. There are like spikes, missiles, and enemies.
And then to top it all off, again, the entire level is like psycho-based. So
Yeah.
the moment you enter the level, like everything's already moving, all the enemies are moving. So you can get to a part and be like, okay, I'm expecting a green enemy here, but it's not because you were slow or you were a little too fast or something like that.
Yeah. Oh. This is not good. Yeah, restart. I will lose too much time.
Yeah, it's pretty for a lot of levels where you end up like doing damage boosts, it's pretty risky to try and attempt to do the level when you've made some mistakes, so sometimes it's faster to just reset and give it another shot. Have I mentioned how fast-paced this game is, though? Because, like, it's really fast-paced. It's really impressive watching this game being played by somebody that's really practiced in it.
I wasn't feeling so great with this level.
Okay, so now at this point, we're pretty much at the point where there's only a couple more levels left. So we've got the two like remaining levels and then the boss levels. And this level here, like this one took me the longest to learn because there's so many things that can go wrong with this one too, and you end up using a lot of different tech in this. You'll end up bouncing off of the bouncer pads a lot, trying to get like bounces that propel you forward, as you see there. And you have to be really careful with the spikes again too, because there's lots of spike enemies. Also, one of the techniques that Sushi's using here is that when you actually go into focus mode, you'll float a little bit, like you'll float a little higher than normal. So you can use that to go a little higher than the game intends you to and skip some parts. It's used early in the run as well, but kind of was explaining everything else as we were going. This is another one of those sections where you're just like, oh man, I really hope I got here on cycle, because if you didn't, then everything's not in the right spot. So you can see Sushi kind of having to adjust to that. You have another section of the ghost enemies where you have to hit the correct color just to make the next enemy spawn. You have to get enough of the enemies there just so you can get through that part. And then mashing through to the end here. So that would.
So yeah,
that would be.
We are coming to the real hardest level, I think. According to me,
the lower path here level. You know, actually, yeah, I agree with you. Now that I remember the level that we're going into here, this level was really dumb when I first played through this in my casual playthrough. Like, I remember when I ended up doing my second playthrough where I took the top path, I was like, wait, why is this level so much easier? Like,
yeah.
It's still, the other level is still really difficult, don't get me wrong, but this one felt like it should have been the top path level. Because it's way harder. everything just exploding around you here. As you can see, you got to be really careful with the color switches here too, just making sure you're getting the right colors. Trying to stay on the high path as long as we can. Looks like we're almost there. This is another one of the reasons this level is so hard, is it's so long too.
Yeah.
In comparison to the other levels in the game. Nice little skip there, avoiding having to do the rest of the ghost enemies, and made it to the end.
So I'm gonna be doing the boss B first.
And then, are you going to be doing boss A with the colorblind then? Or do you want to try and finish with?
Yeah, I will finish with the normal mode, and then colorblind separately, I think.
Okay. Because you're on a pretty good pace right now, so I know you don't want to probably ruin it by doing colorblind right now.
yeah.
So okay, for the boss here, this is a 3-level. This is basically 3 levels in one. So it's second here. The big mech you see in the background there is being controlled by Dr. Kaz. And you have to get to the mech 3 different times and try and mash down the shield that's protecting her. And each time you end up having a different level, like after you've beaten the first part of it with a checkpoint. After each time you get to the head of the mech. But there's a lot that actually happens in this level. You have the boss firing giant laser beams at you. Again, you have lots of really crazy spike sections. This is probably where you end up using the most mechanics from the game. And I actually don't know. I don't know the differences between the first and second boss, because I didn't remember there being too many.
It's kind of the same thing, but there are really slight differences that changes everything. Like some shortcuts will be different, and something are not even possible. Actually, my time on the boss B is longer than the boss A because I don't know it so well.
Actually, just saw there's a different part right here. This definitely looks different than what you would do for the top path boss.
Oh no, I missed a life, so I will have to go carefully.
Yeah, this part you got to be really careful. You're dashing through a bunch of enemies, and there's a bunch of like electric lasers that are just kind of pathing there, and you have to make sure you're not running into them, especially at 1 health. So I guess we're gonna go a little slow here. Normally you would damage boost this.
Oh, this is not good.
Okay, we made it to the health, so we have at least 1 health left. And then we get oh, unfortunate. Okay, so that's gonna put us back. Managed to recover it. So you were trying to do like a bounce off of this red bouncer here, which you can end up skipping, having to take the top path there entirely. This part of the end, especially on the top boss, is probably the scariest thing, especially when you're doing this like your first time, because it's a bunch of spiked enemies that are only open from 1/4 of it, and you have to target the correct spots while you're being targeted by the boss's laser. All right, so that's going to be the lower path boss. Smash that final shield, and Dr. Kaz gets taken care of. Absolutely destroyed. Just blows up.
And now boss A. Oh no.
All right, so boss A is same idea. We're going to be going through this level with, you know, there's 3 parts to it. It's just the level itself is a lot harder. or meant to be a lot harder anyway. I know, at least for me, I found the top path to actually be easier. I don't know if that's the same case for Sushi, but...
Well, as I was running a lot the top path, it was really easier. But in the lower path, there are some levels that are really nasty.
Yeah, there's a couple sections of like the top path that are definitely harder, but like I don't know, maybe it's because like I did boss B first and like it took me forever to beat boss B. I was just better at the game by that point. So these bouncers are really brutal. So you have to actually be paying attention to the warning signs that are like in the background, just letting you know where you're supposed to be, or like what button you're supposed to be pressing at that point. We do some damage boost here through these lasers just to speed the section up a little bit. As you can see, this is like, it's getting really crazy. Like it's super fast. There's tons and tons of different things that can go wrong here if you're not paying attention to what's going on. The third section of this is probably my favorite. So we end up doing a bounce off this bouncer, and then we end up just kind of dashing through all this spikes. You're supposed to fall down like really low there and just work your way back up, but you can just damage boost through all of it. Now we're going to be following all these missiles here, avoiding the laser or the electric fields as we go through. Taking another little bit of a shortcut here. Same as last time, we're going to bounce off that red bouncer and just go flying. So for this part here, you actually have to hit some specific enemies, because it's another one of those ghost trains where if you don't hit the enemies, they will not spawn, the ones that are up ahead. And you need them. Getting ready for time? Yep.
Yep. And time.
I believe that's a new world record, too.
And that's a new world record, actually. Oh, that's so cool.
Really nice run. Yeah.
Thank you.
You actually blew it out of the water. So that was like a almost a 40-second improvement?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. The world record was like 51 and 3 seconds. And now it's like 50, I guess it's 50 and 21 seconds, something like that. And that's really great. That's really great. I'm very happy right now.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really impressive getting a world record in a marathon. I wasn't expecting that. Let's just say that much.
So let's go on with the colorblind stuff. What is it? Custom, yeah.
Okay, so you just want to explain what's going to happen?
Yeah. So as Carter was saying earlier, there is you can choose actually if you are colorblind, for example, you can choose the colors that you want to differentiate them correctly. But the thing that was overlooked by the developers is that you can select 3 times the same color, and you can hide the symbols of your pad. So I did that one time. I tried that for fun, and I realized that I managed to play the game with the 3 same colors. We'll go pink this time with the 3 same colors, and I ended up doing a full run on colorblind. That was hell.
That sounds so painful.
yeah, it was. Well, it was just the speedrun route. The speedrun route, not all levels, because that would be really painful. And now I represent you the boss A with the colorblind mode, as I call it.
I'm going to stay quiet for this because I want you to be able to concentrate. So I wish you the best of luck, and enjoy this, because this is going to be crazy.
Yeah, thank you. Whew. So let's go. Yeah. First phase done. Oh. This was scary.
Wow, what a recovery. Not once, but twice.
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay.
You made it look easy. I was expecting at least one spot where you had some trouble.
Well, my brain is actually melting right now. But it was really hard actually. As I managed to recover sometimes, but I didn't expect to recover actually, and it was like, oh, I made it. How? I don't know.
Yeah, they're like in the second stage, I thought for sure, like, because you had only one health, and normally you damage boost through that section. I'm like, there's no way you're gonna get through this, and it's just like, no, he recovered it.
Like for all sections, I was like, wait, I have one life. This is gonna be tough. So there were some parts I was like, okay, what can it be? It can only be this color because I know. Wait, remember for your first times. But that was really great, and my brain is absent now. So that was incredible. Well, I wanted to thank you for letting me run, and happy birthday as well.
Thank you very much. Do you have any shoutouts you'd like to make?
Yeah, shout out to all the Devs Must Die team, as they need some visibility for this game, because the game is really awesome. It really is awesome, and they don't have enough. It's too bad the game didn't make the hits. Let's say it like that. And shout outs to all the Skybolt Zack players and speedrunners actually. It was and shout outs to the team that made this marathon. It is really awesome, which is really cool.
All right. Well, thank you very much for showing us Skybolt Zack. And in just a moment here, we'll be going into a brief intermission, and we'll be having a guitar performance by Krebel Star. So stick around for that, and we will be right back. Thank you again, Sushi.
Thank you.